So in our particular machine, with all the presets that we have with the unit, we have specific InstaSet bars that come with the machine. And essentially what these do is they set your slitters at the correct locations for the preset jobs that we have in the machine. Each one is going to have a different designation, whether it's UH or UG or UA or UB. The UH and the UG are going to correspond to two things. One is the paper size, which is your 12 by 18 or 13 by 19, and the other is the width of the piece size that you're setting your slitters for. So in this case, UG would be 1319 at 3.75 inches wide, and then our UH would be our arch B or ledger sizes, so 1117 or 12 by 18 at 8.5 inches wide.
Yep.
All your different bars have different designations, and they go from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H, and they have U in front of all of those. So this bar is 4 inches on both sides for two different paper sizes. This bar will be 11 inch on one side for your width and 5 inch on the other side. And when you look at the bar, it also tells us there's 2 paper sizes for this particular one that match our presets. And on this particular side with 5 inches, we have 3 different paper sizes that match our presets.
Okay.
And there's the 4th bar that comes in here, and this is our business card bar. And again, this one's A and B, and it's going to be for the 3 different paper sizes at 3.5 inch width for our paper. One thing that you will notice before I take this one out is that we have a 0 scale, and depending on what size paper you're using, you're going to line up your little triangle with the appropriate 0 that's on there for your paper size. When you're looking at your bar, you want to look for 2 different things. One is that you want to make sure that you're able to read the label that tells you that you have it inserted in the correct orientation. So if I'm using Super B or Arch B, I'm going to be able to read that when it's here. If I had it flipped around to the UB and I could read this side, I'd be on the ledger, which would not be the right size if I was doing 1218 or 1319. So just make sure your label is readable when you're inserting it into the machine. That way you know that's the side that you're actually using. The other thing that you're going to notice is that if you hit this particular side on the Super B Arch B has 4 slots for all 4 slitters. If all 4 slitters are being used, there are no numbers associated with these slots because you have to use all of them. If, in this case, on Ledger, we're only using 3 of the slitters, it's going to tell you which slitters to use. It wants you to use slitter 2, slitter 3, and slitter 4. And if you look on the individual slitters, you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that tells you which ones to use. If you're not using one, then of course, when we change this over, you would say we would push it out of the way, and it can actually go up under the edge over here to get out of the way. So, let's go ahead and take this one out, because what we're going to use is what our software tells us to, which is nice. So we have the AeroCut Nano Edition software that comes with this machine. So when you drop your PDFs into the preset templates and it auto-populates and makes a printable PDF for you, it does a couple things. One, it gives you a registration mark that is usable. And then 2, it's actually going to name the job for you. So it tells you that this template's for the AeroCut Nano. It tells you which bar we're going to use, which is the UH, which is this bar here. So we're going to put the UH bar in just a second. And then it also tells us what the job is. It's rack cards. They're 3.7 inches wide by 8.5 inches, 8.5 inches wide by 3.75 inches tall. And it's also a duplex job, which means that it's printed front and back. So we're going to put this back in the machine just for a second, because we know what bar we have to use now. We're going to come over and we're going to take these 2 thumb screws out here on the top. We're going to make sure that we loosen up our slitters. We're going to pull this one out. We're going to find our UH bar again. And again, we want to make sure we can read the UH. And as we look at this one, it tells us 8.5 inches wide, so we know we've got the right one. And it also says UH, but it also says 2 and 3. So now that means I'm going to push my 1 over here out of the way. I want to keep 2 and 3, and I'm going to push number 4 over out of the way. And so now I'm just going to move this over so I get my 2 and 3 in. I know that I'm using 12 by 18, so I'm going to use my 12-inch mark here to line up with my 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my thumb screws back in. Get those started. And they are a little bit long, so we're going to spin those in. We're going to leave them just where they barely touch, because in the previous version we had to move this by hand to make 0 line up. Now we actually have a micro adjust button here on the front. So if we turn our micro adjust, we can fine tune it to where we want it to go. So that is right dead center. And the tip is not as precise. I like to look in the V on the back side because I can see the line coming through it, and that's going to get you where you need to be. Once you have that, you can tighten up your 2 thumb screws, and you also want to tighten up your slitter wheels, your knobs here, and that's because you don't want those slitters to move at all, because then you would get chatter and it could cause your gutters to be rough or irregular. So you want to make sure you put those in. So again, we looked at our sheet. It told us to go with the UH bar. We looked at the bar and it told us to use slitters 2 and 3, which match our slitter numbers. We inserted it. We picked our paper size, which is 12 inch. We lined it up with 0. We have it installed now. So now all we have to do is go in and pick our job, and we're ready to start.